channel, and apologies to people who are expecting the next session of the Midlands game. Unfortunately, with recent events, we're down 2 players at the minute, which is all a little bit last minute, but couldn't be helped. So valiantly, Johannes has volunteered to step into the breach and run us a stars without number one shot. So I'm going to hand over to Johannes, and we'll see what we do.
Yeah, so as John said, last minute, so I think going might be rough. Fasten your seatbelts and let's see if this thing takes off. So we have our characters created. We have Logan Armstrong and Marcus Gray. And these individuals are, let's see if I can figure out from my notes here. Okay, so Marcus Gray and Logan Armstrong are residents of the planet Asai, and Asai is a planet heavily afflicted with centuries of industrial abuse, which have left it largely a dark gray wasteland of petrified trees and acid rain. And the population has congregated in these mega cities, which are shielded to the best of everyone's capability from the prevailing horrifying natural conditions. However, aside from the ruinous nature of the planet itself, the megacities are fairly prosperous. It is a planet entirely run by an entity called the Executive Economic Council, which is a council made up of the representatives of the most powerful mega corporations on the planet. And Marcus Gray and Logan Armstrong are agents, law enforcement agents of the Executive Economic Council, EEC for short. Basically police officers of a kind. I think they are the they're not beat cops per se. I think we're talking like senior inspectors, whatever that rank might be in this sci-fi future. The year is 3200, and we are definitely in a very futuristic environment as the scene opens. And let's see if on some of my flavorful box text that I wrote like a half a year ago is here. So a steady downpour of slightly acidic rain washes over the Kalino metroplex on Asai. Even more than usual, the brooding sky is underlit by the fierce luminescence of the lights of the metroplex as one of the biggest events of recent decades begins, the Texpo 32 convention. Hosted by the Neogen Biotics megacorporation, the event primarily showcases the recent astounding progress Neogen has made in the fields of robotics, artificial life, and cybernetic augmentation. Investors, competitors, aspiring technocrats, glitterati, and other luminaries swarm to the event to network, wheel and deal, stay relevant, most of all, and to see where Neogen's research is taking society on Asai as a whole. The Neogen director, Yoshida Danjuro, is slated to give the keynote speech, which draws many eyes on the event that would otherwise be uninterested in the proceedings. The megacorporation has recently rolled out several new series of androids, which are customizable even post-manufacture, which usually isn't in this setting possible. Once you create the artificial entity itself, it's fairly difficult to go back and modify it afterwards. As well as cybernetics advanced enough to leave competitors so far behind, many on the side now are certain that Neogen Biotics is going to seize the majority power in the EEC, the Executive Economic Council. So it is, in a way, kind of a political event as well. So you are agents and operatives of the EEC, tasked with security and safety on the planet as a whole. Your jurisdiction is wide, but it doesn't readily override corporate autonomy, which is sacrosanct on the planet. public service run in a society run by private interests. The department has dispatched you to the Texpo 32 event due to a discovery in an EEC information dragnet. A terrorist attack of some kind has been planned against the convention and Neogen Biotics specifically. Your brief, given by your superiors in the force, was scant on details, which is distressing in its own right, as especially Marcus Gray knows. It takes quite a bit to evade the surveillance to this degree on this planet, which is very technologically capable. So your superiors want you to convince Neogen Biotics to shut down the convention to mitigate potential damage, and afterwards track down and neutralize or capture whoever the hostiles are. And yeah, basically you've been sent there with very little information, basically to tell Neogen, shut this show down, and then find whoever's responsible for the threat. They don't know what the threat is, but yeah. So that is the setup for us. And as so often is in these neo future noir things, I think we see you depart from, I think it's your car as agents, with the doors opening up from the slides, and you stepping out into the slightly acidic rain in front of the giant Metroplex. Basically it's a venue. The Kalino Metroplex is the convention venue for the Texpo 32, and yeah, you're standing in front of this edifice of glowing neon lights, advertising the brilliant research and products that have been developed by Neogen Biotics. A whole lot of it to do, as I mentioned, with new advances in artificial life and cybernetics.
Okay, so obviously, like you say, we're getting out of our sort of future sci-fi car. We're looking up at this gleaming, shining bastion of progress.
Mm-hmm.
As such, from where we're looking, I mean, it's you say it's a big convention sort of.
Yeah, it's basically a giant convention facility.
So I'm assuming, and please correct me if I'm wrong,
mm-hmm.
that there's like a main entrance for
yes,
for like all the convention goers to go in.
Yes, there's a small series of steps and then a wide entrance with several different doors for people to flow in.
Okay, now I'm assuming that there's also going to be like sort of side entrances for like bringing the exhibitions in and like staff and whatnot.
Yes, it's probably got entrances all over the entire facility.
So as we're sort of approaching, I turn to Marcus and I say, well, if I were going to try and infiltrate this place, I'd try and pose as one of the staff, someone low down, like a maintenance tech or something like that. I mean, after all, whoever they're almost invisible in plain sight. No one pays attention to the people in the grey jumpsuits doing the sweeping and moving the exhibits about.
Yeah, that sounds very plausible. Maybe we should speak to whoever is in charge first, find out if we can shut down the convention, and then find out if there's anyone who has the building who wasn't supposed to be here, or so anyone who has entered the building who maybe shouldn't be working. If there's a way that we can scan the entry logs and that sort of stuff.
I think that's a good idea. I mean, I definitely do think we should talk to them, Marcus, but given that we don't really have any information regarding the nature of the threat or even who's involved, I can't see them just shutting down this. I mean, consider the amount of money that they must have invested in this place. I can't see them wanting to shut it down just on our say-so.
No, that's true. But we should warn them as well, so that afterwards we can tell them we told them so, which is very important with these corporate heads.
True. And I'm gonna have a look around and see if there's like there's anyone there who's like directing peak or either so.
Yeah. Yep. So you go up the small flight of stairs. There's the giant glass and steel edifice with several sets of doors for people to go in. It's in full swing. The main event, which is the keynote speech of the director of Neogen, that hasn't happened yet, but it's ongoing. There are smaller events. There's exhibitions, everything going on. So the event is in full swing. You can see people flowing in and out. Journalists with their like buzzing droids. What do they call them? I forget. Are they droids? Drones. Yeah. They call them drones. So they have their media drones filming footage, giving interviews, and that sort of thing. And you see at the entrance, like if you want to go into the exhibition areas and basically the event proper, you need to go through a checkpoint where they check your if you have your tickets, if your authorization is okay. You can spot on the side there's a staff entrance, like because you don't want the take the logistics through the people entrance. So there's the staff entrances on the side, and then these like basically security checkpoints for people to go in. And you can hear constant, like PA buzz in the air with advertisements for every kind of Neogen product you can imagine. A lot of it has to do with do you want to get a full head of hair? Do you want the hair to glow in the dark? You can buy Glow Dark from Neogen hair products station, that sort of thing. They have a lot of biotech on sale, as well as the AI stuff and the cybernetics going on. But yeah, this is the scene that you see. There's a lot of attendance here.
Could we try the staff entrance? Less likely to cause a fuss and potentially more likely to get in.
Sounds like a plan.
So I would like to go up to, I guess, the nearest kind of side entrance, staff entrance. And I guess, do I think that I can like just flash my badge and walk in, or is this a kind of place where I'll be spending 25 minutes trying to explain why I need to get in?
It depends. You can see that there's let me refer my notes again. Okay, so there's a Shogun Security Corporation, SSC. They are a security company. So you can see a Shogun guard at the staff entrance. And there's a clearance reader set on the wall. So basically the guard is just like leaning up against the wall by the entrance, smoking vape, because it's future, right? So he's vaping there and just minding his own business, doing something on his compad, and it depends really on what the instructions were. Like if someone told the security like block everything, they're gonna try. You're fairly certain you could make the door open because that's your specialty. You can deal with tech. You could open the door. However, you don't know what's been told to the Shogun guard.
Okay. And do we see multiple side kind of staff entrances, or is this like the only one?
There's one on each side of the sort of like, the entrance area where everyone needs to check in. So there's one on each side.
And does a guard at each, is there?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, always a guard at each. Okay.
But you could wait for a rotation, of course.
No. So what I think, what I'd like to do, is walk up to the guard, flash my ID, and just say we have a report of a threat, and we've been sent to investigate, and kind of stand there expectantly waiting for him to open the door.
Yeah. So he puts down the vape and a threat. Okay, see, I can see you carry the. You have one as well. He motions at Logan for him to show your credential. Yeah. So, like, and he does something on his compad, touches his ear, and he says, "So this is 316. I have 2 EEC badges at the front. Do we have a threat? Because no one told me." And you can hear him like stay quiet for a bit as he obviously listens to some answers. Okay, yeah, Roger. I'm not hearing any. My sergeant hasn't heard anything about a threat here.
Well, perhaps if we could speak directly to your sergeant. After all, we'd hate for you to get in trouble when, should such a threat unfortunately materialise and cause costly disruption to this the Texpo.
He puts the comm link open again and says, letting the 2 EEC badges in, and he reads out your numbers, basically like your ID codes. It's like so that they know who to expect. Letting them in through the front. And says, yeah, free to go. And he like bats at the security reader on the door, and it opens, and he says, listen, they've been really and he closes the link and is okay. So listen, they've been really stressed out there. So if the sergeant is all kinds of wound up, it's because we have been severely understaffed recently here. So try not to give him shit, and maybe don't stress him out with this phantom threat, this phantom menace of yours.
We understand. If you could direct us to the to your superior's office.
Oop. Are we being hacked? Right. So you go, and then he gives you directions to a staff room in one of the Expo areas.
Okay.
Yep.
So yeah.
So I'll just thank him as we walk past.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, he does not notice.
Okay, so I'm thinking we head directly to the security office or whatever the equivalent is, and we try and have a word with the head of security.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So you go into the expo areas themselves. You go past there are merch stands. So if you wanted to buy the Texpo 32 shirt, you could do it here. There's all kinds of hawkers outside trying to sell you like gadgets and stuff. And pretty soon you are in the actual expo areas themselves. So you can see these holographic displays, like, let's say like 8 meters tall, holographic projections of whatever it is they're trying to sell. There's extremely detailed specs available for different kinds of what do they call them? The AI units that Neogen is creating and advertising here. You're free to link in your compads to various information streams if you want to. There's a whole lot of data floating in the air here. Marcus would know about that. And you get blasted with ads everywhere you go. And eventually, you pass some of these. You know that there's more of these. Yeah, John?
I was going to say, as we're walking through, obviously we don't know who's listening. So telepathically, I'm going to say to Marcus, just be on the lookout for anyone who's where they shouldn't be or who seems to be behaving a bit oddly.
And I'll just nod in.
Obviously, I know Marcus has got like a sharp, keen eye, so... And obviously I'll be keeping a lookout myself, but obviously I know I'm nowhere near as sort of perceptive about those things as Marcus is.
Yeah, your perception is metadimensional in nature.
I operate on the plane of the mind.
Yeah. Logan, being a psychic, can reach into metadimensional energies to leverage the psychic powers of telepathy. He is fairly adept at the thing.
Also, I don't know if this is possible because, like I said, I'm not really experienced with like the telepathic power. So feel free to tell me if it's not.
Yep.
I assume because obviously I can like hear thoughts. I presume most of the time it's like a background noise, and you have to like focus in on bits to like actually like hear them.
Yeah, it is. It is not always on, so it is.
Okay.
It's not one of those cases where you need to focus on it to dampen it. It is a. It is a thing you need to focus on to activate. So
Right. Okay.
your baseline, good to go, regular human brain. But if you want to open your brain, you can definitely do that.
Yeah. What I want to do is sort of open myself up because I'm assuming that anyone who's, you know, just for example, like if they were going to like plant an explosives or set off an explosion or something, obviously, even if you're like a professional, there'd be a certain amount of tension, anticipation, as strong like emotions. So I'm going to try and sort of open myself. Obviously, I know there's going to be strong emotions because people are like, "Oh, look at the new tech," and "Oh, it's amazing," and whatever. But I'm going to be trying to like open myself up a bit. So like any sort of jarring or sort of like dissonant, strong emotions, I might be able to pick up as we wander through. Like if we wander through and like someone's thinking like, in 5 minutes I detonate the bomb. That's. I mean, obviously not as ridiculous as that, but you know, anyone who's sort of like their thoughts sort of feel out of place.
Yeah. Let me bring up the telepathy powers in the rule book. So you have access to. I wonder if I wrote this on the sheet. I might not have. So on page 40, if you have the PDF, John, or the book, you have the telepathic contact.
Right, just let me grab the book, and I will have it very shortly.
Yep. So you have the core technique, which I think you can use pretty freely.
Page 40, you said.
Yeah, 40. On the right side, right column, rather. And you have...
Yeah, I can see the ones I've got. I've got facile mind.
Yep.
And suppressed cognition.
Yep. Okay, with facile mind, you can... yeah, so you can commit your psychic effort for the scene. So basically you get... you can very much leverage that as we move from scene to scene because you get the effort back. So basically what that means is you can use up to level 2 telepathic contact quite freely, which means that you can... the psychic's awareness of the target's surface cognition is sophisticated enough to read their current thoughts, though it can't pick up memories or the non-obvious connections. Okay, so but that requires you to hone in on an individual. So yeah, but you're listening in, so to speak, and presumably, like when you if you spot individuals, you can definitely like try and skim their surface thoughts.
Yeah, but basically, like I say, 'cause I know Marcus is far more observant than me. I'll be sort of like keeping half an eye on Marcus, and if he seems to be like paying like we've known each other for a few years. I sort of recognise the look, you know, that he's paying particular attention to somebody. If I see him sort of linger on someone for a while, or he's maybe like scoping them out, I'll sort of tentatively like risk a psychic probe just on the surface thoughts, nothing too drastic, just to sort of like make sure that it's just the normal sort of thoughts, and they're not sort of like get ready to drop the bomb or anything.
Yep. So you have determined to somehow suss out suspect individuals in this crowd. It's going to be a Herculean effort. So, which I guess you are right now trying to like get a particular line of questioning started, so that you can actually start working on the thing. So. You pass through the more like garish exhibition areas, and you move on to the deeper sections of the Metroplex, and you past these rather serene, it seems like VIP like club slash bar areas where there's this sort of mellow electronic background lounge music type deal, and like soft blue lighting on like every corner, very subdued, dark club-like environment where people lounge with fluorescent drinks on very soft divans and whatnot, and there's very expensive looking bar with a barista flair tending there. So there's like you estimate probably like 6 bottles in the air at any one point where they're just juggling different drinks and making these fluorescent beverages for patrons who look very affluent.
Actually, yeah, I'm going to zoom in for a moment with my psychic awareness on the bartender, because I'm thinking, obviously, people come in, the bartender talks to me, has a lot of dealings with people passing in and out. So if there's anyone who seemed like they maybe seemed a bit out of place, even if he's not done anything about it, he'll have probably realised, because he's used to seeing the normal sort of people coming through for this sort of thing. So I give Mark, before I do the psychic thing, I'll give Marcus a nudge and I'll say, Marcus, strikes me that if anyone unusual has been here, the bartender may have noticed them. Do you want to try it the old-fashioned way, or do you want me to see if I can work anything out?
Why don't you see what you can work out?
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk over to the bar, order a couple of drinks, one for nothing like mad alcoholics. We're working, obviously. One for myself, one for Marcus, and then as I'm sort of talking to this guy, and I'm gonna start out with just making a bit of general chit chat as he's doing like his flair tending, and I'll sort of say like, oh yeah, you get a lot of strange people at this sort of place. Hopefully that'll get him thinking about any sort of like strange, odd activities he's seeing. Then as I've mentioned that's what I'm going to try and do, like establish psychic contact with him.
Yep, and you don't even need to roll anything. It's just he's rolling a mental save to resist your efforts, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a main action on your part. You can use your telepathy skill, yeah, and then mental saving. Yep. So you reach out, and okay, so I have now created the barista character sheet, which I did not have ready.
It's not a phrase you hear very often.
Yeah. Okay, so we have there's the save. Oh, the barista makes it.
That's
let's see
odd
what that
in itself.
Yeah, what
He's now rapidly moved up my list of suspicious people. What kind of barista has anti-psi training?
Yeah, he does his flirting and then looks directly at the camera while the bottles freeze in the air. Then he looks back and continues.
Starts spinning around him.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see what that means. So if contacting most cases. Okay, so on a successful save, no form of this technique that allows a save can be used on them for the rest of the scene. However, you could use them after the scene.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yep.
So, so as I said, we've been working together for a while. I'm going to give Marcus just like a very slight nod on my head to signify that I've not got anything from him, and then sort of continuing the conversation as though like nothing had happened, because obviously it's only taken like a moment in character. I'll say to him, I'm just going to put my EEC like card face up on the bar as I'm like passing over the credits for the drinks, and I'll say, you must see an awful lot of people come through the Texpo Centre.
Oh yeah, a lot. Though, being that I'm here instead of the front, a kilometer that way, I get the fancy types. Usually don't get the well, you're kind. Here, don't take that the wrong way.
I flipped the card over and I took it in my pocket. I'm like, no offense taken. But you must get used to like the regulars who come to this thing every year. I mean, I know people like to talk in front of their barkeeps. You know, you provide a valuable service, not just the drinks. You lend an ear. You have a bit of chit chat, a bit of banter with the
Hey,
customers.
whoa! If someone's saying that I'm selling info on the clients, I
no.
absolutely deny.
No. You've no fear of that. There's not even a hint of that. All I'm interested in is we've heard rumours, and there may just be rumours, that there are some suspect characters that may be about at this year's Texpo.
Yeah, well, you have the entire lounge, my friend, filled with directors.
That's not quite what I mean. We believe there may be someone here who shouldn't be here, who may have entered under false pretenses, and we're currently attempting to establish who they are. I was wondering whether you'd perhaps seen anyone who you didn't recognise or had struck you as a little bit out of place.
Oh, let me think. And he keeps doing his thing. He's really good at the bartending flashily while having a conversation with you, and also billing someone. And finishes those drinks and puts some bottles on the counter and leans forward and says, "I don't really think. The thing is, you do this long enough, you learn to not see a lot of the, well, more out there stuff, because some of these folks just that's where they live. They live out there, and they appreciate the discretion when you don't even see it as a member of the staff around here. So can't really tell. Though one thing that I did notice is putting my lunch in the fridge. There's I don't know what's going on with the. I don't know if I should talk about this. Please, can you roll? What's the? Are we using talk? What was the skill in this game? It's been a while, my friends. Talk, I believe, is the that's the convincing him.
Oh, I'm glad I've got such a piss poor skill in that. Okay, I'll give it a go anyway. So,
Yeah.
Just to explain how this works, Rob, on the on your character sheet, if you look at the top right, you'll see it says Quick Menu.
Oh, yes.
And if I click on skills on there, it brings me up a list of all my skills in the box, and I can just click on them to roll.
Ah.
So I presume there's no modifier, Janus.
Yeah, no. Well, I guess but I suppose give it a +1, because you have shown him your EEC card. So
okay, and I'm assuming this is a charisma based.
Yeah. Oof. Oof.
Oh.
That is rough.
What is it? It's 10 plus to succeed in this game, isn't it?
It depends.
Standard.
I think the lowest that they mention as being like if you succeed on a 6, you needn't have rolled is sort of the idea. So succeeding at 8 is kind of the lowest bit. But so
Well, see, I like to imagine that, like, because my character spends so much time sort of like prying into like the innermost thoughts of like people, and sort of like people don't really have any like deceptions or sort of like walls from him because he's a telepath. So he's not used to the polite sort of walls and sort of like to and fro of a conversation. So he's pretty much basically like, there's someone in here going to cause a threat to this convention. You need to tell me now what you know, without any sort of like preamble. He just sort of lays it out like that, like no subtlety whatsoever.
Yeah, like I don't know anything about any threats. There's always something weird going on when you have people with this much credit in one place. So I like I wouldn't go looking into the VIP booths because there's probably going to be some gnarly stuff going on back there. I don't know. I don't know, and I don't want to know about any of that. So, especially now with because they have the AIs around this time. So, yeah, probably some weird stuff on the menu for those with the tastes. Don't like to ponder those myself.
I nod and take a sip of my drink, and I like chuck him a couple of credits as like a tip or whatever.
Mm.
Then, as he sort of goes back to his business, I turn to my companion. I'm like, "Well, it doesn't really seem like the barkeep knows much. What do you think our next move should be?"
I think we should go and see this sergeant in the control room and find out why they're so understaffed and make sure that they didn't hire any temporary workers who may not be what they seem.
I nod and sort of like knock back like whatever like shot I've ordered. Put my glass down and say, "Well, no time like the present."
And Marcus, you can see as Logan talks, you can see the fluorescent light still like coming up from his throat from the drink. Like there's this like baleful light green light emanating from his mouth as he talks. Right. So you you disengage from the bar and dodge some expensive suits on your way and go to what seems to be a staff door. It is not locked, but there's a like staff only. Asai is a planet where a lot of the writing is either in Cyrillic, Russian, rather like space Russian because it's 3,200. So languages have evolved, but a lot of it is in Cyrillic Russian, and then we have Japanese kanji as well. But given it's a very, let's say, multifaceted society, there's all kinds of information in every possible language available, but those are the main ones. Like if someone's writing something down on paper or a wall, it's probably in Cyrillic or kanji. Right, so you go to the through the door which says staff, which is one of the doors that you were given as a direction for the control room, and you enter into this fairly bland, given the garish like holographic displays and shows and all the glitz and the glamour of the show itself. You enter into what might be in a different sci-fi show, the maintenance tunnel. So it's blank gray walls, blank gray ceiling and floor, and there's mops and buckets in corners. There's equipment laid out here and there, and you pass some staff toilets. Eventually, you end up at the security control room, basically, where you were direct. Yep.
As we're sort of going past like the mop and bucket and the staff toilets, I'm just going to quickly peek inside like the bucket. Then I'm going to quickly duck my head into, because I'm working on the assumption that if it's something that's going to disrupt this place, and they mentioned terrorists, it's probably going to be an explosion or some sort of device. So basically, anywhere we go that's like potentially big enough to hold some form of explosive device. So quick look in the staff toilets, make sure there's nothing like concealed in there. Quick look in the mop and bucket.
Yep, doesn't appear to be. No.
Then I think we should carry on.
Yep. All right, so you're outside the security control room. What do you do?
Is it locked? I guess I try and open it.
Yeah, it is. It is in fact locked. There's a reader on the door.
Okay. So the sergeant is expecting us, though, right?
Yeah, they were. Everyone was told, or at least someone was told that
we were coming.
You were coming out.
Okay, so then I guess I'll just knock on the door.
Right. So you do so, and it takes a minute, and eventually the door beeps open and slides into the wall, and you're admitted in.
Okay.
It is a fairly large room, or rather 3 different rooms separated by small, I suppose, like archways, which like barely separate the different sections of the room. And there's like stacks and stacks of processing units for various different kinds of electronic security equipment. This is the server room for that kind of thing. And there are some monitors. We don't have the entire wall covered in monitors because this is the future, and you can do that more efficiently in a different way. And people can access them individually at much higher rates. You don't need to have the entire wall covered in them. So it is fairly sparse. Aside from that, there's some personal stations laying about. You can see the gun cabinets, and you think one of the sort of semi-separated rooms is like that's the locker room / sanitation area, so probably showers, that kind of thing. And the other is on the other side is a staff room for having lunch and that kind of thing. And then the middle section is where the actual like security control stuff happens. And you can see there's the sergeant who's come out of the staff area, holding some kind of a hot beverage, and yeah, you don't see anyone else around. And the sergeant is, let's say, a man in his 60s. Lifespan of humans at this time is around 120 on average if you get regular tech level medical care. So he's middle-ish age, and looks fairly grizzled, probably a veteran of the business. He's in Shogun Security Corporation gear as well, so he has the logo and everything, and raises the cup at you and says, "How can I help you? I got the message from the door."
So I will step forward and kind of introduce ourselves, and I'll say, Sergeant, we know you're very busy. Obviously, it's a big night for you. We've come across some traffic on the Dragnet that would indicate that there's a terrorist threat, and we're here to look around and make sure everything is okay. Really not trying to step on your toes, and obviously, like I say, it's a very busy night for you. But what we would like to do is ask you a half dozen questions. Potentially have a look at some of your monitors to see what's going on in the room, where the big chat is likely to take place, and then potentially just get your permission to kind of have a look around the building, have a chat with a few people, and like I say, we won't be in your way. We're not here to step on anyone's toes. We just need to make sure that everything is all hunky dory before we kind of report back that there's no actual threat.
Yeah, he listens to your list.
As my companion's doing that,
yeah.
I'm going to try and use my established psychic contact with this guy.
Yeah. Okay, so he's going to roll to resist, and I think you're going to use this one. Oh, he fails. Okay, so he's what does the power say again? Let's refer to that. So you can get the target's surface cognition, current thoughts. Yeah, current thoughts is like, I didn't need this shit tonight of all nights. And it's like, they don't pay me nearly enough for this, like stretching myself like this.
Okay, so I'm going to try and use that knowledge to basically just reinforce what my companion has said, and say, look, we appreciate the fact you don't really need this shit tonight of all nights, but the sooner we can get this resolved and we can establish whether there's a threat or not, the sooner we can be out of your hair, and the less trouble will be to you. We just want to make this as easy and as smooth for everyone as involved as possible. If it should turn out to be a hoax, no harm done. We can go on our way. But we're both grafters. It is. Our boss tells us we've got to look into something. We've got to look into things. You know how it goes.
Get me a talk going. There, Mr. Silvertongue.
Unfortunately, my character has far less of a silver tongue than myself. Any modifiers?
I would say definitely +1.
Yeah.
We'll go with that. Yeah, so he looks at you for a bit, takes a drink of his beverage, and then does this like sweeping motion of like encompassing the entire control area. He says, "Well, please make yourselves at home here. Sugar or no?"
No, I like my coffee like I like my commanding officers, bitter. And I sort of had a bit of a laugh and a joke with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he points at you, and goes into the staff room, and you can hear him getting like cups of coffee for you.
So telepathically to my fellow agent Marcus, I'm going to say, while he's away, might not be a bad idea for you to have a poke around in his system with that like Black Ops tablet you've got. Well, let's face it, if someone's going to try and infiltrate this place with all this security, they must have a way of at least bypassing some of it. And well, if it's been bypassed, these guys aren't going to know about it. They haven't got the tech skills you've got.
That's a very sound line of reasoning.
Okay. So how do I go about doing that?
I am currently digging up that portion in the book.
Okay.
We can do it very simply. I'm just gonna check if there's anything of value that if we want to dig into the detailed hacking stuff. I think we can use some of this framework. So I'm operating on pages 54 and 55 if you have the PDF.
Okay.
And you don't need to like dive too deep into there because I can just rattle off some info from here. So you have all the equipment. You have the line shunt. You have the black slab to basically destroy whatever security measures might inhibit your access to the system. The line shunt itself is also black market stuff. And so is your black slab. Let's see then. Okay, so we have that detail there. I'm just going to confirm what exactly the black slab does, and then we're ready to go. Black slab appears to be a normal data slab for a casual examination. These devices are packed with intrusion optimization hardware and integral line tapping tools. They function as a metal tool for purposes of accessing data lines and grant +1 bonuses to hacking attempts. Okay. Also quite illegal. Okay, good. So we get +1 from having the Black Ops tech. And so basically you have this little piece of equipment called a line shunt, which you can attach to like a physical thing, like these terminals here, to allow you to like tap in and access the stuff. Or you could just sit down with the terminal. That's also possible because you're here. So you can. There's a list of actions you can take on page 55 at the lower left. So if you can phrase your what do you want to find? If you can phrase it as a specific question, that is one action you could take in hacking the system. If you wanted to get quote unquote general information, I suppose like a drag a net and grab some stuff in it. That's another action. Then if you want to straight up like copy everything that is also an action. If you want to mess with the system, activate, use, abuse different parts of it, those are also actions.
Okay. So what I think I'm interested in is a list of people who have entered a building.
Yes.
And compared with a list of people who, first of all, a list of staff who've entered a building compared with a list of staff who are working or on shift.
Yep.
And to try and identify the difference. Well, I think that's my starting point.
Yeah, cool. So that is difficulty 8 then. Okay. So you can click on the upper right of your sheet on the skills, and it should put in the chat your skill list.
Yeah.
And then you should be able to, is it programming?
Program, it looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can click on that, and if it asks you for a modifier, you can put +1 in it.
Okay.
For the black slab.
Okay. And what's the attribute?
It is intelligence, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
Yep. You surpass it quite readily. So as the Shogun Sergeant is in the staff room, having finding clean cups for y'all, what do you do? There are stacks of servers. There are also terminals here. There's all kinds of equipment you can take in with your stuff. What do you do?
I guess what I just do is kind of hide behind Logan a small bit in case the sergeant comes back. Just on the terminal, I'm just kind of tapping away, trying to download these lists of, or the overlap between the lists. I guess. Yeah, what I'm really interested in.
Yep. Right. So Logan is standing in front, maybe like, let me check my coat pocket for maximum coverage.
Well, I was thinking what I'll actually do is if the guy comes back in and he's still Marcus is still tapping away, I'm going to use my psychic power of suppress cognition on him. You can cause someone not to think about something. So I'll cause him to not think about the terminal that that he has out. So it as far as he's concerned, he'll just be like sat there like.
Yep.
Because he said we could look at stuff. So
he did invite you in with like Mikasa Sukasa.
That's obviously if Marcus is still like Black Ops hacking stuff when he comes back in.
Yeah, it's like it's swordfish every time. So yeah, Marcus is good with this stuff, and he's using the terminal. So he doesn't need to go in with his line shunts, and he doesn't need to set everything up. He just goes in and uses the terminal, and he is succeeding in the role. So Marcus digs in, finds out the access logs for the Metroplex. You get quite a bit of it, but of course you can sort through it quite quickly as well, because you can clearly see the status of every entrance. So you can see the visitors, you can put those on the side, you can get the staff separately, and then you can compare the rotas of like who's where. And you can tell that there's some variables in basically all departments, as is usual. That doesn't signify anything noticeable to you at this stage. However, you do note that there's an inordinate amount, you would say maybe 2/3 of the Shogun Security Corporation guards that were supposed to be here, they called in sick, and they were replaced today by reserves called from presumably the SCC reserves. So.
Okay.
Yeah, and they are still understaffed. So a lot of the people didn't turn up, and not enough people did in the end. So that is probably the source of the staff shortage here. And also that is the single most, like, which you can immediately tell that this is a thing. The other ones you could put down to whatever.
People working late or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you do have that data as well if you want to like dig into that at a later time. But this stands out to you.
Okay. And can I also work out where the replacements are situated and whether any of them are situated in and around the venue for the big chat? The big
yes, and that would be a different. I think. Okay, so do you want to? There's two options for us here. Do you want to get the real-time like location of these security guards, or do you want to know where they are supposed to be at the time of the chat, like a snapshot or a real-time feed? The feed is going to be more difficult.
I think the snapshot for now.
Yeah. Okay. So that's going to be the 8 again, with the same stuff, with the +1 for your slab.
Okay, that's 11 again.
Yeah, good. Yeah, so you know where all these people are supposed to be.
Okay.
And they are definitely, there's definitely like some of them are stationed at the keynote, or they are supposed to be. However, not everyone, because everyone needs, like, they need guards at the doors. So.
Okay.
But yeah, there you can tell that there's going to be at least 4 in the immediate vicinity of the keynote speech.
Okay. Okay, and how far off is the keynote speech?
It is 45 minutes away from now.
Okay. So because it's so close, then I think I would like to do a real-time check for the guards and see if I can work out anyone who is disproportionately far away from their allocated zone.
All righty then. Let's hack some more. I think this is going into subverting a system, because you're basically hijacking their GPS stuff. So that's a.
Can I assist with this role with my normal compad?
I think
program.
Yeah. So please feel free to roll. Helping works in the way that you roll. If you succeed, you give +1 to Marcus. In this instance.
Boom, 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 boom. 9.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're good. I think you're good for that. So Marcus +2 for your programming, and the difficulty is going to be 10 for subverting the.
Ooh, nice.
Yep. Still good. Right. So yeah, you get for the foreseeable future, you can get the geolocation data for these Shogun Security Corporation guards, and you can tell that there's one of them is sort of outside the venue a little bit, that seems weird, because you're not supposed to, unless there's some shit kicking off in the street. But
okay. Okay. Does he have a designation or a name or?
Yeah, they're probably sorted by their badge numbers in the system. So if the guy at the door was 316, let's say this is 314.
Okay. Okay, so 314 is outside the building, and everyone else seems to be.
They seem to be like slowly moving across the planned patrol routes or stationed at the door.
And 314 was supposed to be in and around the keynote, was he?
Yeah.
Okay. And can we tell how far from the building he is?
Yeah, you think probably at the most like one street over, maybe on the other side of a street.
Okay. And because I have his GPS data, I can understand exactly where he is, and we could find him relatively quickly, right?
Yes, you could.
Okay. Okay. Now, can I speak to Logan telepathically, or is that just a one-way service?
Let's see. You have the transmit thought, I believe.
Yeah, my
Let's see.
my thing says opening contact if I've like established contact with someone previously over a long period of time requires no effort at all. So it's basically if I want to have the contact open, which presumably I have done because we've been.
Yeah, and transmit thought is allowing two-way communication. Yeah. You can definitely do that. If Logan opens it, then you can talk.
Yep.
Okay. So assuming it's open, I will just say that look, this guy is quite far away, so he's not like stepped out for a vape, and he's supposed to be at the keynote. So it feels like our choices is to check where he should be at the keynote. Is there anything funny there, or to step out of the venue and find him and find out why he's not at his location. And I guess there are pros and cons to each.
Yeah, I mean, mentally I respond saying, well, we could go and track him down, but if it turns out the perpetrator is here, then how far away is he? Will we have time to get there in like, the 3/4 of an hour before the speech and get back? Or
You think so? However, depending on like if you run into crowds, they might slow you down quite considerably.
So my only worry is if we leave and he turns out not to be the perpetrator, whatever's going to go down could happen here whilst we're away.
Yeah. And sorry, you said there's 45 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I heard 4 to 5 minutes. And I thought
No. 45,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and based on how long it took us to get here through the crowds that are there, do we think that we could get to him in 10 minutes?
If you ran, yes.
Okay.
At least, like, you don't exactly... you don't... Well, I guess you could. You could have... Yeah, let's... So, to give you more context of, like, where you think this guy is, there's, like, a construction site on the other side of the fairly wide, because there's a lot of traffic, fairly wide highway. So there's a construction site. They're building something tall there, probably like a competing convention center or something, or maybe a really tall like corporate tower. But they're building something, and his ping is there. And you think if you just ran, you could make it in 10 minutes.
Just to check, does this tower where this person's located, does it overlook the convention center?
Yeah, it is quite tall. At least the current, like you think the current form is not finished by any means, so it will be even taller, and it is already surpassing the convention center in height.
Well, I suggest we attempt to grab a vehicle and get over there as quickly as we can.
Okay, so I guess we'll head for the nearest exit. Try and get outside the crowds, and then it's a block away, is it?
Yeah, I guess we could say that because of the highway, because it takes up a lot of space. So
okay.
Yeah.
What sort of like ground vehicles, like cars, are in common use on a side?
Yeah. So those would be grav cars. So cars with anti-grav technology that hover off the ground up to, I think, like momentarily, it can reach up to, I think, like a couple of meters off the ground. Like if you made it go up, it could like dodge another car, but that would be temporary.
Okay, so as we go outside, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look up and down the sort of like the strip outside, and I'm looking for someone who's like walking toward, like basically just like done the clicker for their car. They've just like unlocked it and they're walking to get into their car. Then what I would like to do is I would like to use my telepathic powers to cause them to be unable to think about their car.
Yeah.
Then as they're looking confused, we'll get into the car and we'll drive off.
Yeah. I'm gonna roll a save. for this unfortunate individual. I think suppressed cognition. Yeah, mental save. There is, yeah. Okay, so here goes. I'm just gonna roll for the barista because same stats. Nope. Yep. So this person does what? Please feel free to describe this.
Yeah. So as we walk out, there's someone sort of like heading towards their graph car. They've just like gone like boop and unlocked it. Then as they take a couple of steps forward and they sort of like look around a bit confused as though they've forgotten where they parked. But like wherever their eyes almost seem to like slide over where the car is, as though they can't directly look at that space. Then I'm just going to like walk around to the other side of the car, so open the door so we can both get in, and we'll because the guy like can't perceive the car for a scene, so we can literally just drive it off in front of him.
Yep.
We can then. So I'm planning to bring it back.
Yeah.
But we can then just drive the car like hell for leather to this block. Like we're requisitioning it.
Yeah.
And then we'll head to this tower block.
Yep. So, is this a thing that Logan does with regularity? Is this the first time Marcus has seen this, or
absolutely not?
I'm assuming. Yeah, he's probably done it a few times. I'm assuming there's like EEC sort of like people of a reasonable rank. You know, like we could like legitimately under certain circumstances requisitions.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think, as I say, with not really having any sort of like social mannerisms, because he's not really used to like dealing with people on a conversational level. Obviously, Marcus has probably realised that like, I just find like this is quicker. It involves less conversation, no harm's done to them, and like if we get the car back within a reasonable time, we'll probably assume like, oh, I must just forgot where I parked it. We'll like park it down the road or something, and then like just like walk when we get back and just walk past them and be like, oh, I think you parked down there, mate, and like no one's any the wiser.
Yep. All right, so you get into the car and you find your way to the other side of the highway to this construction site. And okay, yeah. So you leave the car somewhere there, presumably, because you can't really go into the construction area itself with the car, unless you want to. You could try, but it is an unfinished. What looks like a tower construction, whereas the Metroplex is kind of like a long, like high surface area, dome-ish building. This one is more built high, and it has. It is quite interesting because usually these things get completed quite rapidly, especially as large as this project is. There's probably a lot of corporate money behind it, but this one is, for some reason, there's even now there's no one working on it. Seems like, and it's sort of looks like the construction has been halted. And as you park your car, you can see like grav lifts, which is to say like forklifts, but with grav tech. You can see them parked out there. As if like the construction has just halted. There's materials laying about in like not in disorder, but like mid activity, and there's tarps flapping in the light wind. The slight acidic rain is still coming down, and it looks for all the world like an eviscerated corporate tower, which is quite grungy compared to the glitz and glamour of the Metroplex.
Are there any like signs up or anything like that sort of say what this construction's for? You know, like the name of the company or anything like that?
That is a very good question. I did not even have the random generator ready for this, but I will soon. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so it is called the Tara World Aerospace. Sorry, I'll put it in chat as well. So Tara World Aerospace. It seems like some kind of a astronautics company.
Okay. And is the fence kind of locked, or is it open, or is there?
Let's say it was, but it was a poor physical one, which you undid already. It wasn't there to deter anyone but the most inept.
Okay. And does my GPS tracker have height on
Yes,
it? Or
yes.
okay.
So you start coordinating the data, and it puts this guard a fair height up the sort of skeletal tower. So at least you'd think at least 20 floors up.
Okay. Is there any lift working or anything that, or are we looking at 20 flights of stairs?
So you go about, and you do definitely see the lift. There are both like completed actual lifts, which will be a part of the building, and then there's like construction lifts on the scaffolds outside. Well, not outside, but the unfinished parts. And the actual completed personal lift, which is a part of the building itself, it is in fact at floor number 21.
Okay.
And the construction lift is at ground level.
Okay. And do I have a sense that I'd be able to hack the construction lift?
Yes.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay. So then what I'm looking to do, I guess, is to get onto the construction lift and then do my hacking skill to get us to floor 21-2 to find out what this guy is up to.
Yep. Just to clarify for us, the construction lift itself is an open air affair. So it is basically it's a floor with some like railings around it for security and attaching stuff and whatnot, but it is open to the air as well, and it is fairly noticeable. So I'm saying this like if you want to go in with the sneaky approach, this one will not be undetectable by any means because it's a rough affair in that sense.
Okay. And do we think that the one built in would be more stealthy?
Probably yes, but you would have to wait for it to get down.
Okay, which is going to cause the sound as well.
Yes, probably.
I suggest what we do is if you can hack into the other lift and lock it off so no one can use it, then we take the construction lift up because we don't want whoever's up there jumping in the other lift and riding down whilst we're heading up.
Okay. That sounds like a great idea. So I'll do that first of all. So I lock the
personal lift.
Yeah, on 21. And then what we'll probably do then is hack the other lift to get us up to like 19. And then walk the last two. So it'll make a bit of noise, but it'll be two floors below where he is. And then we can walk up the last two.
I suggest we lock off the lift that we're leaving as we leave it as well.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so that would be, I think we can just make one roll for all of this because the lifts aren't especially high tech. So this would be, I think, especially because they are not very high tech, you could roll for your fix skill instead of programming. So fix and intelligence. And that would be +1 as well for your black slab again. And that makes almost no difference because you're as good with fix as you are with programming, but still. This is a more mechanical thing because what you're doing is you're prizing over a panel and then you're just plugging in your black slab and the system is like, yes, sir.
I think with that roll, he's built an entirely new lift.
Yeah, it's actually, there's a grav lift now.
And it also made it super quiet as well.
Yeah, you got everything you wanted.
I remember this lift having rocket boosters when we first got in it.
and drinks as well. This is coming out of the wall.
How did you get the barista in here?
It's like, hello, friends. Yeah, it's like the party is here now. So yeah, you lock the personal lift in floor 21, and you get the construction lift going. I think there's a moment where like the construction lift like starts going, and then around like 15, there's a protrusion of some kind, maybe like a steel pipe or something, like sticking out of the construction itself, and you reach up just in time to grab it from like sticking against the rising cargo elevator, basically, and from making a horrifying screeching noise as it grinds to a halt, or grinds the pipe off the building. But yeah, you smack it out or grab it away, and off you go in comparative silence to floor number 19, and you lock it there as was your plan, and then you go off in on foot rather. So
Okay.
what is your plan? The inside of this is an interesting mix of completed rooms, which is to say, like everything's done in a room. So you would have an entirely outfitted conference room with the glass walls and the Tower World company logos on the glass walls and doors as well. The screens and the chairs and the tables, everything inside, and then the outside could be an unfinished corridor with like maybe some panels on the floor, wires everywhere. It very much looks like this construction was done by several subcontractors, some of which have already completed the work, and the others not so much, or it's being done by like a horrifyingly inefficient piecemeal method. But yeah, some of it is entirely finished, and it looks again quite expensive. A lot of corporate money goes into this. Everything's top quality where it has been completed. The rest is kind of like bare steel and concrete and some rough paneling and wires everywhere.
Okay. Does there anything look like there's CCTV kind of cameras or any of that thing that might be hooked up already that could potentially hack?
Maybe. So let's find a terminal and check if we can get that show on the road. So you stalk these empty corridors where like there's some houseplants there as well, already brought in, which are now exposed to the elements. The wind is fluttering their leaves as you walk. It is a fairly sort of, I suppose, like sad affair, because it's really like a gutted corporate office building open to the air, and kind of degrading as a result. But yeah, so you find, let's say you go into one of these conference rooms and get a terminal going there, and let's see if you can hack it. So it's a programming intelligence roll again, and +1 for the black slab, and that would be a 10 if you want to grab the cameras. Yep, which you do. John, this is reminding me a lot of the Start with a Number campaign, where certain individuals would not fail any technology rolls.
Well, roll 3, drop 1 is
it is
strong.
Very good. Very good.
In the campaign, I had the same for my piloting rolls.
Yep.
Okay.
So anytime we had to do like a spike jump or anything, I was just like,
yep, done.
It's done.
Completed. And also his special ability was like, if the difficulty is 10 or below, I don't even need to roll. Like it just straight up says like you succeed on anything 10 or below.
And I had another focus that was like, you're like half the time of like all your spike jumps or whatever. So it's like, oh, it's going to take us a week to get there. Like a day later, you're like, hello.
We arrived before we left. Okay, so you get into there, and you find some cameras. A lot of it is like, they're dark, so a lot of the cameras are just basically giving you a black feed for whatever reason, and then the ones that give you actual feed give you this extremely dark view of empty rooms or corridors in the office areas.
Okay.
You cannot see anyone there in the cameras, but you do have access to the cameras in the building, such as they are.
Okay. Okay, so then I guess we should just find the stairs and walk up to the 21st floor and see. There's no chance this building has any sort of like life support scanners type situation that might tell us how many people are on the 21st floor.
You think it might, maybe, if it was completed. But given that it is very much not, even if it had them, the readings might be all over the place.
Okay. So then I guess what I want to do is, on the assumption that the stairs are near the lift that I've locked, I would like to take out my submachine gun in case this goes badly wrong, and then start slowly making my way up the stairs towards the 21st floor.
Yep. So Logan, you've watched Marcus do his thing. He has the magic touch everywhere he goes, seems like, and he's heading upstairs. Are you bringing up the rear, or?
Yeah, I'm gonna click the safety off my mag pistol, so like the inside pocket of my duster coat, and then I'm gonna be sort of following up behind him, but I'm gonna keep sort of glancing over my shoulders, make sure that no one comes up behind us or anything like that. If we pass any sort of corridors, because I'm assuming that Marcus is like following his GPS, like zeroing in on that guy's location, but any like side corridors we see, I'm just going to sort of like quickly like glance down and just try and like cover our backs, basically.
Yep. Take care of the corners. Yeah. So Marcus is doing the alien thing. Where's the beep, beep, beep. Right. So you head up the stairs. Do you want to go all sneaky like, or is this you're just regular people walking up, or? What's the approach?
Not quite ninja-esque, but also not quite, standard speed. So it's kind of
cautiously walking.
Yeah, but kind of trying to keep silent, and I guess we feel like we're looking for a sniper, so we're looking to make sure that there's no kind of what do they call those traps? The ones that explode when you step on them.
Or like pressure pads or anything.
Yeah, that sort of stuff. Yeah, basically trying to make sure there's nothing like that. So we're very cautious.
Given that I've worked with Marcus for some time, like how sort of stealthy is Marcus like in our sort of previous operations? Because you will know that I am not stealthy at all. Because I'm just wondering whether I should like hang back a bit, because I don't want to be sort of like following up right behind you and you're like, oh, I'm stealthing up, and I'm like,
hello guys, bang bang.
Yeah. I have a -1, so I'm guessing that I'm not that stealthy.
Yeah, same as me.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think there's two of us in it. We just we do our best.
Yeah. So. Because you're both doing the observation thing, basically. Please get us a roll going. I guess because Marcus is very attentive with the 3d6 with notice. I guess this would be Logan assisting Marcus as a functional mechanic. So, Marcus, I'm going to ask you to roll notice, but first. Logan, let's roll your notice, and if you succeed at difficulty 8, you can give Marcus a +1.
I wouldn't hold your breath, Marcus. Is this wisdom?
I guess, yeah.
6, so now I'm no help.
These are some trash rolls.
Okay, so notice. Do I get a modifier then? None at all?
No, none at all.
Okay.
It should automatically calculate whatever is in there with your wisdom stat. So, yeah, good. So, yeah, you get up to the 21st floor. It seems to be a mostly completed Um, some kind of a atrium, maybe. It's a large open space with a giant, like the entire wall facing the Metroplex down there is made from transparent materials. So it's open to the evening of the city, and there are a lot of decorative plants set here. There are a lot of benches. It seems to be a kind of like a social area, maybe a sort of like in building court where basically you just go hang out. There are benches, these plants there. It's a lounge area, maybe very very much in the vein of expensive corporate tastes. So very nice, and it is mostly completed and shielded from the elements. So yeah, looks good, and it's mostly finished. However, there's like nothing's on, so there's no lights on here. None of there's vending machines set against the walls. None of them are working, and there are some balconies as well. So there's supposedly like you can probably access it from the floor above as well. There's some like walkways up there, and you notice between, because you walk up the stairs, you definitely catch the glimpse of these very small button-like devices set between, because it's like an open garden park type indoors area. So there are some pillars built in there for not really structural integrity so much as like decorative purposes, and you can see these small button-like devices that have been very cleverly planted, which is probably tripwires of some kind, working with laser light.
Okay.
So
So I have a pair of low light goggles.
mhm.
So I would like to put them on.
Yeah, it is fairly dark here.
Okay. And then if they're in any way helpful, I would like to examine the tripwires.
Let's see. Low light.
So there has to be some illumination available at all.
Yeah, there is definitely, because of the glass wall. So there is some illumination because the Metroplex is right there, aglow with neon holograms.
Okay.
So let's see. Low light goggles, monochrome but serviceable view. Provided there's any illumination at all. Yeah, you can use them and you can function much better in this darkened atrium, but you cannot see the laser or the tripwires, but you know it's there.
Okay.
But these don't help with that.
Okay. And can we hear anything or any movement or?
Give us an I guess it's another notice roll, really. Which is, this always happens to me. The things that I put in the game are always like, oh, John, roll that thing you never failed at.
So that's a 10.
Yeah, that is very good. You can see there's a person set somewhere by the glass wall at the very back of the atrium, from where you're standing, and they are prepping what looks to be a hefty, high caliber or something, a very remarkable weapon of some kind. And you can notice this because one of the preparative measures makes a click, and you hone in on the sound, and with your low light goggles you can make out the outline. They are quite well concealed, so you only notice them because the gun made a click when they are prepping it.
Okay, so these kind of laser like trip wires, I guess. Do I think that I could turn them off or redirect them to kind of clear a path for us, or do you think that they're actually the kind of thing that we could just step over because we know they're there?
I think you could probably maneuver because you know that they are there and you know to look for them. So you could, if you have time, you could probably just maneuver. But if like shit kicks off, then might be a
I was going to
different
say,
deal.
Speaking of time, I'm just going to check like my watch to like, see how long we've got until the.
Okay, so we said 10 minutes to get across, and you got the car as well. So yeah, you definitely got the 10 minutes done, and because you've been quite cautious moving up here, being careful not to give yourself away or step into any booby traps or anything, and
we're a bit
terminals.
kooky like that, you know.
Yeah. Like who would have guessed? Like, I would say maybe another 10 minutes working your way up the tower, just because of the care you took, and the elevator isn't the fastest in the world, and it was 19 floors. So so 25 minutes until the keynote speech.
So I sort of show I presume it's like one of those sort of future band watches with like illuminated. I'm just going to hold that up and show it to Marcus so we can see how long we've got left. I've basically like clicked the timer on when we found out how long we got, so it's like counting down. Now, based on, obviously we don't know exactly what this gun is, but we know it's a big gun. We've presumably seen guns before. We've got guns.
Yeah, for sure.
Assuming he's like, and I appreciate this is only going to be like a very rough estimate. Assuming he's like doing all the normal things you do, like checking the barrel, giving it a once over, make sure it's ready, loading the gun, etc. Probably assembling a stock. Roughly, does it look like he's getting ready to be like on time for when that happens?
Yes, very much so.
So yeah, so mentally to Marcus, I'll say it looks like he's preparing to line up his shot ready for the keynote speech.
Okay, and then I will mentally go back. Should we try and creep up on him, or do we just kind of throw something to distract him and then rush him, or how frowned on it is it to shoot people randomly in?
You have EEC badges, so you could, like, it might take some work if you just were stupid about it, but in your line of work, you definitely have the authority to enforce the law with lethal force if you're not stupid about it, and if you make mistakes, if it's important enough, the EEC can make it go away. It's not a problem, and you know that your fellow agents do abuse this power because they are working for like this fairly authoritative corporate government, which is the planet's ruling body. If they want something done, they can just say that this is how it go, especially when it comes to corporate law. So basically here you have the cover of the EEC being like, hey, this person is not supposed to shoot at the convention, so down with him or her. And then there's the other layer of like, if you terminate this individual in service to Neogen Biotics law, because they have their own corporate law, would be like, hey, you're a contractor working for us, it's good, we approve, you're safe. So you have a lot of power. I suppose.
So I kind of feel like Marcus would be the kind of guy who is probably on his last life, having had a few incidents.
He's a loose cannon. Now. He's a maverick.
So my sense is that, just kind of just executing him from across the room is probably not in my best interest if I want to keep my job. So what I suggest we do then is, so these tripwires, there's like 2 or 3 of them that we can just step over to get into the room.
Yeah, definitely. You can get into the room, no problem. But if you were to exit the way you came, you would need to make a roll to actually get by the tripwires without tripping them. But
There is one thing, Marcus. He can only fire the gun if he knows it's there.
there is that.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and mentally and I'll tell you this mentally, Marcus. I'll say I'm going to try and mentally influence him like I did the guy with the car, so that he can't perceive his own gun, because then he won't be able to fire it, because he won't even be able to think about the gun, so you can't fire it. And basically, if I can do that, I'll give you the nod, and then obviously you can rush him, because as far as he's concerned, he won't have a gun, so he won't be able to shoot at you with it or anything. But I mean, there's still danger. He might have other weapons on him, but it's better than him just turning around or whatever that fucking plasma cannon is or whatever. He's strapping up. So I'm going to sort of concentrate. I'm going to so now we know where this guy is. I'm going to try and mentally influence him again to sort of veil his awareness of his own gun.
Yeah, I will roll.
On the downside, if he succeeds on this, he's immune to all my mental Shazam for the rest of the scene.
Yeah, there is that. Let's see. Same shit saves for this individual. So here goes. Oh, they succeed. Oh boy.
He's been to the same psi training camp as our barista.
Yeah. The barista is
so
definitely.
I give, without saying a word, I give Marcus a shake of the head. Tell him that it's not worked. He's obviously had some training, anti-psi training.
Okay, so so I guess then I'll just kind of go back in the mental speech to say, we should step over here to the right, where we have a kind of clean view, access to him, and then I'm going to throw a stone, pebble, coin, something, way over there to the right, distract him, and then as soon as he's distracted, we should try and rush him and apprehend him. Okay, and so that's what we do. So I presume I just have something.
Yeah, you could definitely and you could just pick up some stuff, because there's some stuff here.
I'll just offer you a handful of credits.
Yeah, or there's because it's under construction, right? So you could just pick up some tools. You could have picked up a wrench from back there. So.
Okay, so what I'll do then is I'll pick up a hammer, say, and I will throw it across the room, and I'm trying to make a noise without breaking anything, and I don't want to throw it with too much force. I definitely want them to think that there's someone coming from the opposite side, and not that there's no broken glass. So I'll do that, and then as soon as he is distracted, fingers crossed, I will try and rush and football tackle him, and hopefully he won't have to go and point it in my general direction.
Right. Okay. So you toss the hammer to the other side of the atrium.
As Marcus goes out and tries to rush him, I'm going to sort of take off at a slightly oblique angle to that, sort of trying to stay on the other side of the consoles or whatever, obviously dodging the tripwires, with the idea that if this guy sort of avoids it and goes to have at Marcus, I'll be able to pop up and
So you're staying behind the tripwires, is that correct?
No, I'm going over them. I'm going at an angle to.
Oh yeah. So you're going this way. Marcus is going this way. Yeah, cool. So
I guess we don't want the one shot to kill the two of us, is what we're trying to say.
Yeah. Yeah. So Marcus tosses the object this way, probably to a corridor that goes off the other side of the atrium. Just maybe someone's coming from there. So tosses it there. This individual gets up, looks to be a woman. So she gets up with the gun. It's in one of her hands now, but it is almost as tall as she is. It looks like it's not ship grade, but that it will probably be enough if you wanted to shoot someone from here into the Metroplex Convention Center. So she like gets up from her like crouched position by the glass wall and like looks around. She's dressed in Shogun Security Corporation fatigues, like standard issue, nothing special there. Like clicks at her ear, and you can hear she's vocalizing into the comms, and she's looking at where the noise was. She hasn't moved yet, but she did stand up.
Okay. Okay, so it's probably a bit late to ask this, but this is we were definitely expecting a woman, right? When we were doing our research and when we hatched the.
Oh yeah, for the yes. So you have the personal info. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So this person is supposed to be a woman.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So before we get too close, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take out my compad, then like very, very quietly, I'm gonna go. This is the EEC. We have you surrounded. Surrender now. Then I'm basically gonna like turn the volume way up, but not play it back, with the idea that sort of as Marcus gets ready to do his run, I'm just gonna like frisbee it low across the floor, like press the sort of like play after 20 seconds, frisbee it across the floor. So as he starts running out, a loud voice from like another direction will shout out, "This is EEC. We have you surrounded." In the hope that she'll at least like turn in that direction and he can like.
Yeah, just yeah, cool. And I think your maneuver is pretty good. So Marcus, you're making moves to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so Marcus is lining up the $1 million man running scene, and Logan slow motion tossing the combat with the rapidly declining numbers spinning on the screen. And the combat hits the floor paneling where Logan tossed it, and a very loud voice comes, "This is the EEC. We have you surrounded." And the woman like whirls around and doesn't really like point, like she's not using the gun as such, but she has it in her hand. So she like whirls around with the gun and goes for her supposedly sidearm, like flips open the because there's like a strap for her pistol, like flips open the strap, and then Marcus hits her. And Marcus, please give me. It's probably not on your sheet, so let's just quickly. I'm just gonna add it there. So I'm gonna add a tackle to your weapons.
Okay.
I think that's probably it. Let me just quickly check. Okay, yep. So there we go. And you have one attack bonus. Good. That is punch. And yours. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Good. So now you should have the tackle weapon.
Okay.
Yeah, so please make an attack with that.
With no modifiers.
Yeah.
Okay.
10. That is a miss because she has AC 16, having what is called
Combat field uniform.
Combat field uniform, yes. So that is a miss. However, you do connect with her. So you go down with her, and she doesn't take any damage from that. But yeah, you connect with her. She was completely flat-footed against all of this because it's like hammer noises from there, and then the EEC is busting in the door over that on that side. So she's flipping back and forth, and you hit her, like you bulldoze her down, but you're like both sprawled on the ground. I think it's time for the initiative rolls here.
Okay.
In this here game. So yeah, you should be able to click it on the upper right.
It's a mighty 2 for Logan. Look at that initiative.
Ooh.
Well, it's been a pleasure working with you, Marcus.
Well, he can only kill one of us, so. Oh, jeez.
Yep. So
unless that gun's got like a full auto on it.
yeah. So yeah, the enemies. I'm only gonna roll for one. So there are multiple bogeys. Spoiler.
Okay.
So this sniper. Let's go of the big sniper gun and gets the pistol out, and she's going to like wrestle with you. She's clearly a trained operative. She's pulling off some pretty badass moves, wrestling with you on the ground using the gun as well. And it is you don't like the way that this looks from a close up. So let's see. That is a. There and then that. Cool. Okay, so basically what that means is she's going to use her pistol in close combat and not suffer for it because she is trained in this.
Okay.
So she's going to. It's a laser pistol. You know that it doesn't pack as much punch nearly as Logan's toting a magnetic pistol, which is that kills a man in a one shot. But laser pistol is no joke, and let's see how this goes. Oh no! So yeah, maybe when like she actually looks like she's going to be able to scorch your face from very close proximity, you're just frantically like batting the gun hand away. It's like, nope, that I do not want. I can deal with punches, but a laser in the face is not good. So yeah, she squeezes off a couple of bolts, which like scorch the floor paneling near your head, but she cannot get the shot off. However, where the EEC supposedly are raiding from, you can hear footsteps. Basically Logan, because Marcus, you're hearing the screaming of the laser pistol in your ears. So Logan, you hear this fairly rapid and heavy pace in the corridor where you tossed your compad. However, nothing's appearing.
Does it sound like the footfalls are coming towards us?
Yes, they are approaching.
Okay, in which case I'm going to try and, if I can, sort of get to the corner of that corridor, so I'm sort of crouched behind it.
Yep.
I'm going to flick my arm down at that and my telescopic baton extend, and I'm basically going to be there like that, so as soon as
waiting.
face comes around the corner, I'm going to wrap that around their face.
Yep. Okay. Coolio. Marcus, what's up? Logan's positioning himself by the door, waiting for someone to come in. You're wrestling with this sniper. What do you do?
I would very much like to shoot her with my submachine gun.
Alrighty then. Let's see. I don't believe you are very capable of close quarters firearms shit. It's not really your forte because no. So let's see. There's a minus associated with this, but
okay.
I don't remember what it is. Here we go. Okay. Okay, so maybe not because she's using her pistol. So I don't want to go and spend time and clarify on it, but it does specify that if they're using a melee weapon, which she isn't because she is using the pistol. So yeah, you're free to blaze away with the with the submachine gun.
Okay, cool. And I can fire this in a burst.
Yes, that means that you expend 3 ammo instead of 1. However, you get bonuses, which the calculation will give you.
Okay.
Bonuses to damage and hit both.
Okay, so no modifier. Oh, that was
Oof.
absolutely terrible.
No. So yeah, you're both wrestling your gun arms to the ground and basically getting deadlocked with, like, she's shooting right and you're shooting left, and like you're very rapidly your options are going down to like headbutting each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she's grimacing as she's like barely holding your rapid firing submachine gun away from her body in these close quarters wrestling maneuvers. Okay, so you burst and it doesn't hit. Okay, so the bad guys. Logan, please make a swipe. Something's coming.
Okay, so make a stab roll. Bum, 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 bum. Oh.
Oof. that was bad. Yeah, that is not a hit. So what happens is someone blatantly comes running, heavy footfalls. You swing the telescopic baton, which bounces off a storm armor helmet, and like ding, and basically returns to your side, having done absolutely nothing to this individual. So what happens is there's a power armored individual who rushes in to the atrium, and there's some kind of like integrated weaponry on one arm of this power armored individual, and they're like briefly glancing to Logan with the baton fling to the head, and like taking stock of the situation. The individual is doing nothing as yet because they are assessing what's going on. And then our friend the sniper is gonna try and scorch Marcus again. You know what? She's letting go of the pistol because you've got that too far away from yourself. So she's letting go of that, and instead frees up an arm and gets out a combat knife and is trying to stab you with it. So here goes. Oof!
Ouch.
That is a hit and 6 damage.
Okay. Okay.
At least I believe that's a hit.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So what happens is she lets go of the laser pistol and with extremely rapid speed grabs a knife from her vest and just puts her body weight onto it and just like presses it into her chest.
Okay.
Yeah, it does not feel good. And then it's you guys. So in whichever order you want to act is fine.
After you.
Okay, so I'm just going to try and shoot her again.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
She dies.
Okay.
So yeah, what happens? She's used her body weight to just like press agonizingly slowly the entire combat knife into your chest. However, she has used the arm which she was using to keep your gun away. So
okay.
So what happens?
So I have then just turned the gun around towards her head and just pulled the trigger, and her head has exploded.
Yep. It's gibbets on the atrium floor, and her body goes limp and presses against the knife handle and immediately regrets your decision.
And then if I can, I'd like to pull myself to my feet.
Yes.
And get ready to shoot the power armored individual in the next round.
I'm going to mentally send the thought to you, like, grab the big gun that she has. Because I'm mentally sending you a picture, like, of the guy, like, full power armor. Like, we're gonna need a bigger gun.
It's like big gun, big guy equals thumbs up.
Okay.
Yeah, good. Okay, so you get the telepathic message. Logan, what do you do?
Okay, so as I'm looking at this power armor guy, is he like fully encased in like armor? Like
Yes, it's a storm armor. You know them to be fully sealed, void survivable armors. So it is.
Okay, I'm going to try and psychically veil myself from his sight.
Mm-hmm. So there's that. I believe that's a resist roll for him,
Yeah,
or save, rather.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here goes. These guys. It's looking like the barista is a bad guy, really.
But yeah, so obviously that's my main action. If I've got a move left, I'll basically be trying to like put something between me and like the Space Marine.
Yeah. So you can slide behind some.
Dive over some desks or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Good. So it's the terrorist leader's turn. Raises up the arm of his power armor, which is it's nondescript, just dark gray power armor. You don't see any sort of maker's marks or logos or anything. And there's a cycling in the mechanics of the arm, and you think there's some kind of a magnetic weapon attached to integrated into the arm, and is pointing the weapon at you, Marcus. And there's the amplified voice of the storm armor that says like, "That was very regrettable. However, I would suggest you cease all action at this time." And then he ends his turn.
Okay.
Would you like to shoot him first, or?
So, just talk to me about this power armor now. What would I know about it? Like,
so power armor is, it is very tough not to crack. It is survivable like you can survive. I think these types of armors you can survive maybe a day at least in space, or maybe a couple of days.
Okay.
Very tough, and they require electricity to run, so they need constant supplies of power cells to work. They have a lot of internal life support stuff, so they help the wearer with like if they get severely hurt, for example, there could be like internal injections of like medicine and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And they have integral comms, they have integral like vision stuff in the helmet. And I think that's probably it for like the the specs basically. Okay. You know how these things work.
Okay, so what I would like to do then, in true hero style, is I want to throw my submachine gun on the floor and kick it towards him. Mm-hmm. And then as his eyes kind of move towards the gun, I'm going to dive for the sniper rifle and I'm going to try and shoot him with the sniper rifle. If I can do that all in one go.
I'll say, if I can, because of that mental communication, if I can help with that, I'll sort of pop up something just over my cover and like snap off a few shots with the mag pistol.
Yeah, definitely.
Distract him.
Yep, that is definitely a thing we can do. So, yeah, let's say that. So, Logan, your action is helping with like you're firing your mag pistol, which is that's a problem for power armors as well. So that is
it's probably not going to be looking at my skill with a gun. So
yeah. So let's have an attack from Logan with the mag. Nah, but still, this is just like, do you actually hit the person? But you're providing the distraction because you're firing the gun. I was just checking, like, do you actually like smoke this guy? Like, I'm helping. Oh, I killed him.
I say with that roll, I'm not sure I could roll a smoke for this guy.
Yeah. I think maybe you use the mental occlusion powers on yourself.
Yeah.
So you give the +1 to Marcus in any case. So let's see, Marcus. Yeah, we're gonna add another weapon.
Nice.
To your thingy here, and let's see. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's put that like that, and then shoot dex. Yeah, and 1. Okay, yeah, you should have the mag sniper on the
Okay.
list now.
So let's see how this go. But I have a +1 modifier.
Yep.
I'm guessing that's a miss.
Yeah. That is not enough to hit. Well, you probably hit, and there's a deafening crack when the mag shot hits the storm armor and makes a massive dent into the abdomen. The figure, I think, keels over and so like goes down on one knee from the impact, and so it's the figure's turn. And
is there any? I probably used all my movement, but if there's any chance I could dive out of the way as well, that would be.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we can, because you just kicked the gun and then dived. Yeah, you can definitely like keep going.
Yeah.
Slide. So. So you can hear a hiss, which is this individual taking off the helmet, and you can hear the helmet clatter on the floor. And there's an internal system that this individual has, which he is using now. You can see it's a man. You at least you think it is. The face is, there's no hair, like all shaved, clean shaved, and the face has blatantly had some reconstructive surgery, which is like plastic surgery is no problem in this day and age. However, this face has sustained quite a bit of damage over time, and even the brilliant plastic surgery of the day hasn't been able to completely fix it. So his nose is all kind of broken. You think the jaw has been put together from being disintegrated, so the skin is all kinds of messed up on his lower face. His eye is clearly cybernetic, and you can see some implant protrusions on the forehead there, and he's using some internal systems which propel him at incredible speeds. So he like jumps from where he was kneeling, leaving the helmet behind, jumps over the tables and the the plant arrangements which you guys ducked behind, and he's like wheels around, pointing the integral gun at Marcus, and then pointing a pistol, which he grabs from a harness on his side, a sidearm of some kind, points this at Logan, and is basically saying, like, switching between the two of you, and says, "Drop your weapons, stand down." And this is him giving you the option on his turn to do exactly that before he starts blazing away. Do you take the offer? I think that's a no then.
Now, roughly how far away are we standing from the tripwires?
The tripwires, I think at this point, because we've been diving into cover and shit, I think you could. I think you could go past the tripwires on this turn if you just like full pelt like away. Like in one turn you could pass the tripwires. However, like we said before, if we are moving in a rush, we need to roll to avoid tripping them.
Okay, so sort of speed of thought, I'm going to mentally send to Marcus. Like, I think we should just like jump over the tripwires and like fling something back to like explode it, and hopefully the explosion will take care of him. Because like we haven't got anything that can crack that armor that he's wearing.
Okay. So, sorry, I'm just unfamiliar with the rules. So, can I jump up and try and since he has no helmet on now, I jump up and try and shoot his head with this sniper rifle, and if I miss, then am I still able to move my full movement to get across these strips?
You would be able to use your standard movement, which wouldn't put you like downstairs one floor or anything, but you could get past the tripwires, but you would still be in the sort of like general area. But let's see. Don't remember. We didn't do a lot of call shots in the campaign that we did, so don't remember how that works off the top of my head, but I am looking it up. So, using skill, disarming, two weapon fighting. Disarming. Attack. Okay, so I don't think there is such an action, but you could definitely shoot him, and then move your movement away.
So I get no modifiers this time because I didn't get any help.
Yep.
17. What a shitty damage roll if I did hit him.
Oh yeah, with those modifiers, yeah. Or rather that dice. Armor. There we go. So unfortunately, storm armor is 19. However, let's say because he did take off the helmet, that incompletes the armor. So let's say that's a hit. So you tag him for 7. And he is down 7. However, not quite dead. So yeah, another massive blow to basically center mass, I guess, like upper center mass now, because we were going for the head, like just firing the sniper rifle off the hip, just yeah, there's another like deafening bang, and he's like sent flying back from the force of this, tumbles into some plants on the way. Marcus, you're muted, by the way. Yeah.
I want to hightail it then to the entrance. I want to jump over where I believe the tripwires are, and then I want to head down the stairs as fast as I can.
Cool. Logan, are you doing the same?
Yeah. So as I've said, I want to leap over the tripwires, lightwise. I'm going to be running like a little bit slower, hoping that this guy will be pursuing us. Then my plan is, as I leap over it, I'm going to grab something, whether it's my bag of credits or whatever the fuck I've got in my hands. And then, so hopefully, as he's getting near to these tripwires, like turn around and just fling whatever it is so it breaks the beam.
Trigger them.
Then I'm just going to throw myself out the fucking door, like in the best cool guys don't look at explosions style way.
Exactly. With your coat flapping in the wind.
Probably just reach through and grab my hat at the last minute.
Yeah. Yep. All right, so let's make a roll to get by the tripwires. So I think we're probably using... I think it's going to be exert for you to gymnastic your way across the wires.
You might want to go first, mate.
Okay. Okay. 1, untrained. I don't suppose I get any modifiers because of my goggles.
No. However, you are an expert, and that means you get to, I believe, reroll a skill check,
I do, yes.
and this is definitely one. So,
Okay, let me try that again. Is that a dex?
yeah, dexterity exert.
Okay. Ooh, 10.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, you get because you know where they are. So, yeah, you run perfectly across them, not even stopping to like do any fancy movements because you remember where they are, and you manage to get by. So, Logan, exert dexterity.
This will be good. Oh, 10.
Yeah, you follow the example Marcus sets, and you mimic the movements, and you definitely do that. So the figure, as you guys speed away, the figure gets up, like throws away a plant, and like fires off a burst of magfire behind you. So there's like disintegrating columns and like wall panels flying past you as you like dash away. Because this building isn't meant to withstand magfire at any kind of scale. So he's just like demolishing the room, and yeah, you get away. You hear the figure pursuing you, the heavy footsteps approaching, and then Logan
fling something into the path of the beams.
Yep. So the beams trigger, and there's a. It's one of those movie scenes where like it goes like from the first like explosion, it goes into the like with you guys like tumbling downstairs. There's a fireball following you down, licking at your heels, and just destruction behind you as you like fall/run down the stairs. You left the cargo elevator 2 floors down, and the blast follows you down at least a floor, and yeah, so you are on level I think 20 now, and just like coughing, you're almost blind from the dust of the destroyed elements of the building, and so you're choking, you're nearly blind from the particulate matter in the air. However, there's no pursuit. There's no pursuit now. What do you do? The elevator you used is 1 floor down from here.
I think make our way back to the elevator and sort of like radio into EEC headquarters. Has Marcus still got like the Giganto gun, or?
Did you bring the Max sniper?
Yeah, so I certainly tried to, but whether I held on to it when I was being thrown down the stairs.
Yeah, if you want to, you can.
Okay. So on whatever comms we've got, like report into like EEC HQ and sort of apprise them of the situation that we encountered a power armored individual that we believe we may have dispatched, give them all the location and everything, give them like a rough description of the rifle that's been recovered by Agent Marcus, and like request like further operating procedures. Like, do they want us to come in, or?
Meanwhile, I will be holding the rifle, making sure that he doesn't come after us.
Yeah, so you're
ready
looking up the stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think dispatch wants you to stick around for now because the keynote speech hasn't been given yet. So given the scarcity of the information which they are still piecing together, and they thank you for the bits that you can provide, they want you to stick around for the keynote speech.
I'm going to say recommend the speech be cancelled because there may be further. There's more than one operative. There may be others.
Dispatch gives you an affirmative and suggests that you inform the local authorities about this.
Right, so I'm going to suggest we head back down to the ground floor, get in the car, speed it back to the conference. We'll comms the local authorities on the way. Then, like, when we walk into the security guy and he's like, "Oh, there's no proof of a threat," we can just be like, "See this giganto sniper rifle that we've just like confiscated from that building over there. You may recognise it from the explosion that's just gone off." Does that constitute a threat to you?
All right, so we are gonna hard cut into the security room with Marcus with the mag sniper, which is like this is a weapon for like destroying small vehicles. You're explaining it to this just like overworked Shogun Security Corporation
at
sergeant.
this point as well, I would like to use my once per game focus where I can like have a contact who like will help me out.
Yep.
So whatever form that takes, but I basically want to use it here so I can have a contact of like supporters going like, no, we need to cancel this shit.
Yep. So feel free to decide who is that. Like, who's your contact that can pull off what you want to do, which is like cancel the thing.
Okay, so I'm going to say that perhaps when my character did like his psychic testing or whatever, there was like a company that was interested in potential psionic implications for technology. And I sort of allowed them to do like brain readings and testings and whatever, really just because they then put some money into like the EEC, but it also helped a lot with their research, and perhaps they're one of the sort of big like money spenders or investors in the convention. So I can basically have them sort of turn up and be like, well, if they say potentially we're going to get blown up or sniped, you know, maybe we should cancel it. And obviously because they're big money behind it, they'll be sort of a bit more well regarded than us.
Yep. So like a SciTech corporation, exec of some kind, maybe. Yeah. All right. So this individual is going to be named very quickly. Okay, so it's going to be so yeah, it's an executive called Andre Ruose, and this Mr. Ruose is working for I think the SciTech Corporation is called Theta Tech Amalgamated. I'll put it in chat as well. Yep. So Theta Tech exec Ryose, you can contact him. Basically, like send a message and have him throw his weight or his company's weight behind this.
Yeah. So like I say, I'll send him. Obviously, I won't give him all the nitty gritty details, but I'll basically say that the EEC has strong evidence that terrorist insurgents are planning to target the keynote speech. We've already stopped one potential group of insurgents, but there are almost certainly more equipped with advanced vehicle scale weaponry and power armor. We've foiled one attempt to snipe the keynote speaker from an opposite building, but there were more than one insurgent involved. There's almost certainly more than one cell, as this would seem to be an organised terrorist organisation. We need to pull the speech or everyone in the convention centre is in danger.
Yep. Good. And you receive appreciative communications because Executive Ryose is in attendance as well. As it turns out, you get that information in the return message as well, that he's here. And he's going to talk to the Neogen leader, which I will get the name of. I'm
going to suggest. I'm also going to suggest if they really need the speech to go ahead, because I understand obviously it's a a vitally important thing, I suggested it be done remotely via like view screen or like holographic projector or something similar, just to get the keynote speakers and as many people as possible out of danger.
Yeah, and yeah, because Ryosei is going to talk to Danjiro, the CEO of Neogen Biotics, who was going to be, or rather, director Danjiro, who was going to be giving the keynote speech. So they talk, and there's soon enough announcements blaring in the Metroplex convention area where like attendees are instructed to enjoy the facilities. However, some events are being cancelled, and they will soon be sent private links to a stream of the keynote speech because director Danjiro has unfortunately had to attend some urgent business, but he will still be doing the keynote speech on time from a distance. Yeah, looking at the time, I think we will probably wrap up here with the closing shot of there's like a couple of hard cuts in the montage here. So yeah, people are flocking to the bars now because they're disappointed by the cancellation of some of these speeches and events and displays and whatnot, and staff are being pulled away, and some people are escorted out, like gestured to like, yeah, you should probably go because we need less people in these areas. And the interesting bit for you guys is because you are in the control room, like seeing all this unfold and making sure that it works out the way that EEC wanted, basically you to oversee that this is safe. And there's a time where you and the Shogun security sergeant, you notice that there's an unscheduled visit by several Shogun security company guards into what is the sort of the life support slash ventilation systems of the Metroplex. And you round up the folks who are not doing that with the sergeant's help, and you bust into the ventilation control rooms, and you arrest the shit out of these people who turn out not to be on Shogun's payroll. They somehow ended up being the extras that were recruited for this evening when the sudden sick leave wave hit Shogun. So there's definitely some infiltrators there, which you busted as they were retrieving some kind of a neural agent from the ventilation system. It seems like they were canceling a plan here. It doesn't seem like they were executing anything. They were retrieving evidence, and you busted them.
I think as well, when we're busting them, I've got like a sort of truth serum drug on me. So I'll like inject one of them with that, and we'll try and get as much information about the other operatives as we can. You know, like if there's any other stragglers or whatever.
Yeah, and you do. So you bust the subversive Shogun security operatives on site, and you learn that these folks are very much not with Shogun, and they are instead. There's some resistance to these folks, as you've already seen with the psychic techniques. Doesn't really work on them that well, and they even resist some of your drugs. However, you do get some additional information from them. These are operatives belonging to some kind of a group or a faction called the Perimeter, and it seemed that they were definitely here to basically take down the director, giving the keynote speech. But that wasn't the point. The point was to wreck Neogen's chances at becoming like top dog in EEC and going forward with their magnificent plans with the tech that they were displaying. So their plan was to basically ruin Neogen's image and thereby cause it to not be able to bring all this glorious new future about that they were advertising here.
Nice.
So you interrogate some of these folks in the ventilation control room, and you learn this. And it seems like, you averted the attack on the Metroplex on both levels, because the neural agent was never released into the center itself, and the sniper was apprehended, let's say, by a burst to the head. Right, and I think that is it. Anything you want to add to the montage?
I was going to say, I'd like to suggest a small sort of epilogue scene where we walk outside, sort of job well done, as like a confused looking guy down there, and we're just like, I think you parked further down the street, mate.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, that's right. Oh, that's man. I need to lay off the booze." And he's like, and starts wondering, that last shot was too much.
I just sort of like pat him on the shoulder, like took like a cred stick in like his inside pocket or something, and I'm just going to sleep it off if I was you, mate.
Yeah,
take a cab.
Oh yeah, that's probably that's right. That's right. I'll tell my son to come and pick up the car. Yeah. But ooh, that was never blacked out walking before. That's a new low. And
I'm sure it's nothing. These cocktails the barista's serving in there. Ooh.
Oh,
just sleep it off. You'll be fine, mate.
Yeah. And you can hear him like get a taxi, and as he goes in, he's like gives the address, and is like, on second thought, let's stop this pharmacy on the way, because I need something for for tomorrow, I think. And the door closes, the taxi speeds away, and you stand in front of the glaring, glorious lights of the Kalino Metroplex rather, and are enjoying your evening after your hard day or evening of work rather, and the slightly toxic and irritating rain is still pissing down on you as another evening of EEC agent work is concluded, and you can hear somewhere someone's having they have a fairly sizable device from which they are blasting the keynote speech stream at full volume in the background as you relax in the street.
Turn and walk away into the rain-soaked darkness with our coats going.
Yeah, perhaps discussing which noodle stand you would visit and have a late dinner.
Indeed.
And yeah, that is then we roll up with the smooth jazz, I think, and the credits.
Quality. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Yeah. So that was our impromptu, fairly slapdash adventure into the world where we have spent an entire campaign's worth, a year-long campaign of Start Without Number, and this was set in the same setting, and that was fun.
It was a nice trip down memory lane, like seeing the setting before I destroyed half of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I say destroyed, rebuilt.
Yeah, better tomorrow. It's what Neogen said.
So, well, thank you very much for running that. Obviously, really appreciate the fact that you ran it sort of last minute because we were down players for the Midlands game. So, thanks very much, guys. And to anyone who's watching this now or in the future, I'm going to stop the stream here. Obviously, happy to chat as always, but
yep.
Catch you in a bit.
Bye-bye.